everyone, welcome to NeoUnrealist. For months now, I've resisted the urge to use it, but we have now reached a point with this story where I'm just compelled to say it, to invoke the meme. Welcome to Clown World. Lindsay Shepherd had her permanent ban from Twitter reversed yesterday, and it was a victory in what appears to be her next great battle in the clown world that is Canada right now. Now, if you don't know who Lindsay Shepherd is, very briefly, she was a Canadian grad student at Wilfrid Laurier University who, as a teaching assistant, she showed a video of Jordan Peterson. He was participating in a debate on Canadian public television. Now, it was a 5-minute video, and the debate happened to be about the stand that Dr. Peterson was taking against the Canadian government trying to compel speech, in his case, pronouns that a sliver of a certain small protected class is attempting to impose on people, like the use of they as a singular case pronoun, or a completely made up words like zir. Lindsay Shepherd's supervising professor, the now infamous Nathan Rambukkana, called her into a Star Chamber-style inquisition meeting with 2 other university employees who were there, where they proceeded to browbeat her about her showing the video in a neutral manner. She didn't praise it, she didn't denounce Peterson's arguments, and, in this insane meeting, Shepherd had the foresight to record the audio from her meeting, and this resulted in about 40 minutes of the most outrageous, whacked-out social justice newspeak bullying that many people in the general public had ever listened to at length before. Rambukkana must have called Shepherd, or the things she said or did, problematic something like 1,000,000 times. Anti-SJW channels feasted. They were practically playing a drinking game, taking a shot every time you heard the word problematic. So, long story short, Shepherd reached out to Jordan Peterson and shared what happened to her for showing his video to a university communications class, and Peterson was moved. So much so that he highlighted Shepherd's story during his public speaking events on his Twitter account, his YouTube channel. This led to a number of secondary influencers like Benjamin Boyce, Tim Pool, Matt Christensen, even little old me on social media to notice the situation and her story, and it became an international story. Wilfrid Laurier University became the laughingstock of the Western world as a postmodernist SJW asylum on the level that Evergreen State University reached a year earlier with their madness. So this, along with elements of the Canadian media giving space to the story, in the end, Lindsay Shepherd won when Laurier admitted publicly that she did nothing wrong. Now, there is still pending legal action on this. Shepherd is suing Rambukkana and the university. Rambukkana has a pending countersuit, but by and large, in the court of public opinion, Lindsay Shepherd won. And since then, she's gone on to become a free speech activist, a media commentator. I think she even writes for the Post Millennial? But because her initial case involved the issue of pronouns for that certain small protected class of people, she became a favorite target of the ABC LGBT LMNOP activists, both in her real-life location up in Canada and online. Since that time, Shepherd started a YouTube channel, she's amassed a Twitter following, and one of these people that she's tangled with recently, is an ABC LGBT LMNOP activist named Jessica Yaniv. Jessica is a person who was born male, but claims to be a woman who likes women. Now, were that the extent of it, one man's claim to be something he is not, insofar as it does no harm to others and only involves adults who consent to indulge that worldview, it's no big deal. It's everyone's right to hold divergent beliefs under those circumstances. Now, as you'll see, that is not the case with, let's just adopt the shorthand that everybody uses and call this person JY from now, just to avoid confusion. JY comes up on the radar screen because they have a habit of targeting salons places where women go to get a Brazilian bikini wax. Now, as Rush Limbaugh likes to say, for those of you in Rio Linda who may not know what that is, it's when women have they have their body hair waxed. That is to say, removed from their pelvic region, so to speak, to avoid getting too graphic for the Naughty Words AI. This person, JY, has insisted on systematically going to these salons in British Columbia and trying to coerce the women who work there to wax him. Wax them. Even though we're talking about they possess male parts. I mean, it's tough to imagine that when these women, who very often they've come to British Columbia, they're usually from Asia. They're relatively conservative cultures and religions, and naturally they refuse to touch or handle those aforementioned sensitive male parts. JY then goes and files a complaint against them with the British Columbia, the Orwellian named Human Rights Tribunal. JY has, as of now, done this to 16 of these small businesses, often owned and staffed by these new Canadians. Some of them the most vulnerable people in Canada in terms of being new to the country, having little knowledge of the legal system, having few resources. How much money do you make doing bikini waxes? And in some cases, a limited grasp of the English language. These are the people who JY targets with this bizarre form of activism. JY insists that these estheticians, I guess that's the proper term for them, that they should be forced to service all clientele, regardless of their religious or cultural beliefs. JY is invoking the power of the state to force poor, vulnerable women to handle his privates. This is a grotesque inversion of human rights, and precisely the sort of outcome that Jordan Peterson and Lindsay have argued for. They've argued for, the past 2 years now, that this would happen in Canada. They both said that this extrajudicial tribunal would be used to coerce people in ways that are actually inimical to their human rights. As, their human rights as the vast and overwhelming majority of the world understand them. Get this, I am not making this up. The waxing case even had a publication ban in Canada. This was a case that, depending how it's adjudicated, would make a radical new precedent in Canada, in the law of all Western countries, because when you think about it, they tend to follow trends in their neighbors. But in Canada, you couldn't even talk about it publicly. You couldn't even say JY's name. Look at me. I'm in the United States, and calling this person by their initials and assuming you'll even know who it is, simply for the fact that that's what a lot of Canadian YouTubers and media outlets, that's how they refer to this person. I'm not even sure if I'm breaking the law in Canada right now. This dude is freaking Voldemort. He who must not be named. Hence, Clown World. Twitter banned a feminist writer named Megan Murphy because she referred to JY using the wrong pronoun and included a screenshot of a review that JY wrote themselves of one of the waxing salons under JY's birth name, which, by the way, was still listed by JY on their own Twitter profile at the time. And according to Megan Murphy's lawyers, JY, he went around taking credit for this. He went to the Township of Langley, British Columbia Council meeting. He's on video taking personal credit for getting Megan Murphy banned from Twitter. When questioned by email on this by the Daily Caller, JY said, quote, "I don't have any connections at Twitter." Well, isn't this an interesting photo? Now, I realize that just because you pose for a photo with someone doesn't mean you are BFFs with that person or even really know them. Many famous people will consent to having their photo taken with you as a gesture of courtesy, but it does make one wonder when you see just how protected this JY person has been, by Twitter, by the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal, the British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal, the collective mainstream media in Canada. In addition to getting Megan Murphy banned from Twitter, as we saw earlier in this video, JY got Lindsay Shepherd banned from Twitter. Get this, JY, they made disparaging remarks toward Lindsay Shepherd, saying that her female genitalia was loose. I can't even say the stuff he said, or the AI will smack me down. Mocking a medical condition concerning her uterus and disparaged her newborn baby. When Shepherd, understandably provoked, responded to point out that JY was overweight and lacking the very body parts that JY was insulting about Lindsay Shepherd over, Twitter decided, rather than to vile JY, that it was Lindsay Shepherd who had to go, and she was permanently banned. This is unreal. Then in the days that followed, it's as if people in Canada couldn't take it anymore. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, I think. Previous leaks and whispers about JY trying to groom 14 and 15-year-old girls online in highly inappropriate chats. Remember, this is a 32-year-old person engaging with preteen girls. I mean, though some of the incidents date back to when JY would have been 27. Still, a 27-year-old and a 14-year-old, highly inappropriate. JY would solicit advice how they could linger in public restrooms and view preteen girls in changing areas in various states of undress. JY had some kind of bizarre fixation on feminine hygiene products, asking seemingly endless questions of how he could see or obtain them from preteen girls that were randomly encountered. He wanted to see them in use. This is insane. How a person could best gain entry to those areas that are set aside for females, like changing rooms and restrooms, and remain unobtrusive while observing the occupants. I saw even one case where this JY person requested a 14-year-old girl send him a photo of her used feminine hygiene products. Then in another chat, JY announced that they supposedly, accidentally, clicked on a Facebook link that led to images of children that, let's just say, are illegal to possess or transmit, then asked if the 14-year-old wanted the link sent to them. I mean, disgusting, and if true, a crime. Then if you think this story could not get any ickier, JY has actually gone to that town council and on multiple occasions sought permission to hold a topless pool party for people as low as 12, where no adults would be allowed except for, you guessed it, JY. This is peak clown world. You have the Town Council of Langley, British Columbia, the British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal, the Canadian mainstream media, and Twitter in an unholy alliance to shield, protect from any criticism or exposure, and even defend in some cases the behavior of an individual clearly engaged in grooming activity and predatory behavior against early teen girls. Lindsay Shepherd's fight against Nathan Rambukkana and Laurier University, to my mind, it pales in comparison to this situation. This next fight for Shepherd is for the very soul of Canada. Under this flood of attention internationally and the details of JY's disgusting activities becoming known, is it any surprise that Twitter had to reverse their decision and restore the New World Hominin account that belongs to Lindsay Shepherd? I mean, this is headed for a bad ending for JY. And I think Twitter stuck their finger up into the wind and felt the change coming. Because I don't care how far to the left the Overton window has been pushed in Canada. This is just plain wrong, and it's probably illegal. Before, it was just one Canadian university that was made a laughingstock. But now, this situation that Lindsay Shepherd's in, this could impact all of Canada and maybe beyond. That's all for this NeoUnrealist. Like the video, comment below, or subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Hit the notification bell and click on the all setting to keep up with the new content. Now, I want you to share this video on social media, as not only will the Bay Area overlords not suggest it, I'm not even 100% sure they won't pull it down. I've seen more than one video on JY taken down already in the past week. Now, if you're wanting to go beyond that with your support and toss a few dollars, shekels, or Canadian dollars at the till, follow the links below to either Subscribestar, PayPal, or even the discredited Patreon if you insist on using that platform. BitChute users, you always have the option of clicking on the green tip pledge button on the player. But if you're still here to hear this after the money-grubbing capitalist portion, I'm shocked. The video hasn't been taken down yet. Thanks for watching.